Welcome back, everybody, to another Greaves Illustrations drawing. Thank you, Raisha, for this drawing. So my paper is going to be tilted ever so slightly, but we're going to be drawing vertically today, and we're going to be drawing this bearded dragon submitted by Raisha and her lovely family. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to find a lid from your cabinet or cupboard, and this is just a Pyrex lid that I have, and I want you to draw a circle on your paper. This is going to be our frame, or where we draw inside that circle today. So a lot of our lizard, excuse me, a lot of our bearded dragon is going to be inside of this hole, so it kind of looks like it's peeking out. So the first line we're going to draw is kind of a curved line. It's rainbow, and then it's going to curve down and then curve back up slightly. This is going to be our mouth. We're going to start from the mouth, then we're going to draw another curved line that's kind of, I would say, another rainbow line that's kind of flat, and it's going to be parallel but then extend out, and that's going to be a part of our lip as well on the upper part. Now we're going to start looking for that nostril area, so we drew a Mona Lisa smirk, then a curved line on the right hand side, and then another small curved line and connected it, I'm going to say, to that upper lip, if you will. From here, I'm just making sure that I have those curved lines in the way that I want, and then I connected the upper and that middle line together. From here, I'm going to extend the left side of my nostril area up ever so slightly at a diagonal. So you should have something that looks like this right now. From here, what I'm going to do is I am going to draw I call it a curved mountain line, if you will, that's going to go over the top of the line, curve down into a valley, curve back up ever so slightly, not as big as the one before, and then come back down. This is where our eyes are, and if you kind of look, it looks like the eyes are almost like bulging out of its head a little bit, all right? So I'm extending that first line on the left down where the eyes are. Then I'm making another curved line, almost like the start of an L or a C shape. Okay, so we should have something that looks like this right now. Feel free to start and stop as you need. Then you're going to draw a curved line, okay, that comes around. And we're actually going to draw this opening. I believe this is where these bearded dragons actually breathe. So this is the hole where the air would come in and out, from my understanding. And then we're going to curve the line around that opening. So that opening where they're breathing kind of looks like almost like an egg shape with the line up just ever so slightly. Then I drew a diagonal line down, and it came to a point, and then it kind of curves at a diagonal up towards that original middle mouth line that we had. I'm going to go back up to the mouth, and I'm going to start doing the lower lip, or what's going to become the lower lip, and I'm drawing two small curved lines, leaving an opening in between so that I can then curve down at a more vertical line and curve again. So it kind of almost comes to a point, if you will. So it kind of looks like a V with two wings on either side. Take a deep breath, everybody. You're doing a great job, I want you to know. All right, from here, we're going to draw the line from that middle lip, and I drew it down ever so slightly, and I'm going to start extending this line at a slight curve all the way down, and this is going to create the rest of our head shape. So it curves, and then it makes a big swoop, almost like a smiley face line, if you will, and connects to that airway at the top. So we're getting the shape of our head now for our bearded dragon. Okay, from here, I'm going to start from the point of that V and make a line that comes down. Then I'm coming from the airway and curving up and connecting it. From here, I'm going to go above, not quite touching that airway again where it is, but I'm taking the line, extending it up towards that bottom lip line, but not going all the way. Notice there's still a space left. Now I'm going to fill in that space by extending that wing shape of that V and coming down, but I'm not touching that last line. I'm actually making it parallel to that mouth line that I started with at the very beginning. Okay. From here on the right hand side, I'm going to draw kind of this diagonal shape that curves and then connects down. I call it kind of a wing, if you will. So we should have the basic shape of our head now. We should have the nostrils, our two eye areas. We don't have the eye in yet. Okay. You're going to come from the top of the line in the middle and extend it downward so it's almost like at a point or an upside down V. Then you're going to take from that point again another line and make it come down. This is going to be areas where different colors are put, so we want to make sure that we have all the lines correct before we start adding. Draw a kind of flattened rainbow line, if you will, and then draw a curve on the left side. So this is going to be the eyelid of our bearded dragon. Then you're going to draw the actual eye shape with just a curved line down, and then a Mona Lisa smirk at the bottom of it to connect to that eyelid. So you should have an eye right now. It almost kind of looks really scary right now because it doesn't have any pupils or anything. I drew another curved line underneath the eye and then one more to give it more definition and understanding of where my colors will go. We're going to draw another nostril because bearded dragons have two nostrils, if you will. So we can see the one on the right, but this one we're actually going to see where the opening is. So I drew just a small circle, and then I drew a line on the left side around it, and then a curved line on the right side and extended that line downwards so it meets the two lines underneath the eye. Okay. All right, so my eye should not look as scary now. It should have a curved line inside, so I see more of that pupil and iris, I would say, of that eye. I'm going to give more definition with a curved line inside of my airway area for my bearded dragon. And this is what our head shape should be starting to look like. Okay, lots of definition, lots of understanding where the colors are going to go. Draw a curved line that goes underneath that right eye like it showed. And I'm extending out so you could see where we were. Everything is still inside the circle, but I'm going to start working on the body shape of our bearded dragon now. So I drew a curved line, and then I drew a longer curved line underneath it, all connected to the head. Then I'm drawing a line underneath it that's more of a horizontal line, but it curves as it comes down towards that circle frame. And as it touches that circle frame, it actually starts extending downward. So I drew a line that comes down about 2 to 3 inches. This is going to be for our arm. Then I drew a line from that arm shape, make it touch the bottom of that circle frame. I drew another curved line on top of that circle frame again. So again, it's starting to look like it's creeping out of the circle frame. I drew a line on the right that curves down coming out of that circle frame, drawing another line that connected to its chest area and extending out on the right hand side here. Then on the left hand side, I drew a curved line underneath, creating the shape of that hand or foot. Now you can start to see the whole head and body shape. Notice that you can still see my curved line on my circle frame though, okay? All right, I drew, I would say, an L-shaped line underneath the neck. Then I drew a curved line that is smiling underneath the head. Again, this is going to be for color later. Then from that curved line, I'm drawing a line that comes down from the top of that shoulder. I draw another small smiley line that comes down from the neck underneath that first big smiley. Now we're going to get started on, I'm going to say, the phalanges, if you will, or those finger shapes of that bearded dragon. So I drew two lines coming down. There's a little bit of space in between. I come at from the top of that point and draw another two lines that are slightly longer. Then I drew a line that comes at a diagonal, vertical, and diagonal again. So it looks like it's this finger is almost curling around something. Then I drew 2 vertical lines, and then I drew another 2 smaller diagonal lines. Okay, so you should have about 5 fingers, if you will, or claw-shaped fingers, if you will. Same thing on the right-hand side, 2 small vertical lines, then 2 vertical lines that are slightly longer, then another 2 lines. Again, these are all kind of going at a diagonal as you come down, so you can turn your paper if you need to. Then I'm drawing another vertical and another vertical for the shape of this bearded dragon. Now, the cool thing is you can start to draw, depending on how you want the claws to look, it depends on whether you're drawing a smiley face line or a frowny face line on how we see these claws. So the first one I did was a smiley at the bottom, and then you draw the claw. Okay. Then I drew a frown, claw, smiley, claw. This one's going to be a smile at the bottom of the finger, and then the claw. This one's going to be a smile line, and then the claw. Okay. Draw kind of a frown face at the bottom of that finger, and then the claw shape. Okay. And a claw is just a curved line that comes to a point. Okay. So again, this one was frowning and then a claw. This one was smiling and then a claw. This one is frowning and then a claw. And then this one is smiling and a claw. So this is what our bearded dragon should look like at this point. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm erasing all of those inner circle lines on our frame, and I'm starting with a dark green from my colored pencil set. And what I am doing is I'm going around that whole bearded dragon on the outside. So I go from left to right, and what I do is I try and do some very big areas, and then I go back and forth, always coming kind of at a rainbow curve line. That way it looks as if that bearded dragon is peering out. So the rest of the colors I'm going to be using are the dark sepia, that light green, yellow, and then that lighter brown. So what I'm doing right now is I am going in and finding all of my dark areas on my bearded dragon. Okay, all of those dark areas on my bearded dragon. So you can see it's on the mouth, the neck, the airways, the pupil, the eyelid, the nostril, on the side of the arm on the left-hand side, on the side of the arm on the right-hand side. That is where the light is touching. I also did it on my fingers there of my bearded dragon, and you can see where I put those. The claws are also that dark sepia brown. I'm going to go in with the lighter brown now and add those lighter brown touches. As you can see, a lot of them are next to that dark brown, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because when a light is shining, you usually have a dark area and then a medium area and then a lighter area. So those lighter areas are going to be those greens, yellows, and whites, but the darker areas are going to be the dark greens and the dark browns, and then those mediums are going to come in with those lighter browns. So you can see how I'm adding those browns. Now, the white is what's really going to draw all of this together. Okay, guys, look at this. Okay, the whites are coming in and it is totally transforming because it is blending all of these colors together. And I am not going over all of the colors necessarily, but I am blending them all the way up into that point. So I'm not blending the whole color together, meaning I'm not coloring over everything, but it's there. Thanks so much, guys.